But that lady, that new press secretary, she's
that video, dude.
She's a gangster. They're prepared. And you know why they're prepared? Because they're trying to play gotcha.
Yep.
So she played gotcha with them. She checkmated them.
She came in there with that Elon Musk flamethrower.
Play that video.
Watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of...
It finally happened. Karoline Leavitt, the sharp-tongued rising star of politics and fearless voice for free speech, just dropped a $500 million defamation lawsuit on The View, and the media elites are losing their minds like someone spilled red wine on their designer rugs at a Hamptons brunch, $500 million, baby. You drag someone's name through the mud on national TV like it's open mic night. Do not act shocked when the lawsuit hits like a wrecking ball straight through your PR machine.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah. I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Love her or hate her, Karoline is not here to play nice. She is setting fire to the tired old media circus and throwing a spotlight on what The View has become, a table of fake outrage and designer label drama. She is not just challenging the host, she is pulling the fire alarm on the whole show like it is a library book overdue by a decade.
Absolutely not. Let me be unequivocally clear about that. And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years. They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show. And it was a joy to watch them on November the 6th when they realized that tens of millions of Americans do not listen to the lies that they have spewed. These women are completely out of touch with reality. And you're right, ABC.
Karoline has had enough of the smug side eyes, the cheap jabs, the double standards. Just because she stands with Trump or speaks her mind does not mean she deserves to be dragged through the dirt on live TV. She is pulling receipts, naming names and swinging back hard, then boom and walks. Joe Rogan, the internet's bald truth teller with a black belt in both jiu-jitsu and common sense. Joe did not even blink. He smelled the setup instantly, just another tired move from legacy media, trying to silence anyone brave enough to think different. Meanwhile, over at The View, the hosts were clutching their coffee mugs like stress balls, tossing labels like dangerous around with all the depth of a teenage horoscope. It was all vibes, no. Substance like a bad BuzzFeed quiz, but with more makeup and less truth.
But that lady, that new press secretary, she's
when
a
you
gangster.
That video, dude.
She's a gangster. Have you seen that video?
You've never
Jamie?
seen someone more prepared for a question in your life, Jamie.
Have you seen that?
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
Small point on that. Not the big point, but small point. She was so prepared for
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, she's supposed to be prepared.
That's why I
Jamie.
said you've never seen someone more
why?
prepared.
For that.
They're
that
prepared.
For Joe did not need a panel, a stylist or a team of writers, just a mic, a little sanity, and maybe some elk jerky on the side. His take was pure fire. This lawsuit was not weakness, it was war. A line in the sand that screamed, "You do not get." To trash someone's name on live TV just because your ratings are crashing. So what lit the fuse? A segment where Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and whichever intern they threw in the guest seat decided to roast Karoline's political background like it was amateur comedy night. No real debate, no tough questions, just straight up public mockery dressed up as harmless fun. Let us call it what it was: casual defamation dressed in designer clothes and fake smiles.
If you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Joy Behar, always loud and wrong, slammed Karoline as dangerous. Dangerous for what? For having an opinion and the guts to say it. If speaking your mind makes you a threat, then half of America better lawyer up. Then came Whoopi with her signature mix of smug side-eye and recycled Pinterest wisdom, saying everything and nothing, floating above the facts like she is too enlightened for truth but never too high for gossip. And Sunny Hostin dusted off her law degree just long enough. to butcher a few legal terms, like she skimmed a Law for Dummies thread 5 minutes before showtime. That was the last straw for Karoline. She did not throw a fit. She did not beg for forgiveness. She suited up, lawyered up, and hit back with a move. Loud enough to make headlines and bold enough to make history.
So Joy Behar went after Joe Rogan on The View, and he fired back spectacularly.
You're worried about losing your job, and you're worried about podcasts taking over, and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us, and he won, and this is and Joe Rogan believes in dragons.
Joe Rogan caught it in real time. This was not drama, it was a shift. A rare moment where someone actually stood up to the media elites who think airtime equals authority. The View is not a talk show anymore, it is a bachelorette party. For bad takes, cheap shots, and facts that never even made it to the guest list. Watching them tackle real politics is like watching toddlers try to negotiate world peace with crayons and juice boxes. Meanwhile, Karoline's lawyers were probably typing up lawsuits in Comic Sans just for the irony, and Joe was somewhere laughing so hard he probably dropped a kettlebell to him. This was not a lawsuit. It was performance art Shakespeare in court, but with hashtags instead of talent.
They're prepared. And you know why they're prepared? Because they're trying to play gotcha.
Yep.
So she played gotcha with them. She checkmated them.
She came in there with that fucking Elon Musk flamethrower.
Play that video. Play that.
Joe did not just agree, he went full scorched earth. He called The View what it really is. Daytime TV crashing into a menopause convention with no facts, no filter, and way too much fake crying. He dragged their whole act, yell loud play. The victim, and then act like surviving your own echo chamber makes you a hero. Joe was not buying it, and honestly, neither is half the internet.
Ask people, even in the legacy media, even the Trump haters, they will tell you the approach has been much different. Not just from me, but the entire White House. Oh, absolutely. They come in my office every day and they'll admit that off the record. Oh. Maybe not on the record, but they will say they appreciate the access and the transparency and the preparation that goes into my briefings, and everybody on our team, by the way, who goes out to
The View is what you would get if the Mean Girls grew up, got talk shows, and never evolved. High school drama in designer blazers, loud, petty, and stuck on repeat. From Ron DeSantis to anyone wearing a red hat, they have declared war on. Everyone who does not sip from their progressive mimosa mug. If Joy Behar does not like your opinion, you are either brainwashed heartless or getting canceled before the next commercial break. Their idea of political debate crying into an overpriced candle and screaming for federal charges like a group therapy session gone rogue. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan is the anti-View. He will invite Bernie Sanders and Alex Jones to the same barbecue and let the fireworks fly while he munches elk jerky and somehow ends up the only adult in the room. When Karoline slapped The View with that lawsuit, Joe did not blink, he laughed and clapped.
Very strange show, but it's fun to watch. It's just fun to watch them.
It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Well, they're just, it's interesting because I think Sunny is very intelligent, but she's ideologically captured.
Right.
That's sort of, I think the other ones, there's a couple of the other ones don't have to name any names, who are just very dull-minded. But I think Sunny's not one of them. I think she's smart.
A lot of people felt it too. It was about time someone pushed back. Finally, somebody checked them. The View is not PBS. It is not journalism. It is not even close. It is Judge Judy with hot flashes and a teleprompter of clapbacks. Political. Improv night, no script, no facts, just vibes and victimhood. The moment someone with a different opinion walks on set, boom, it is an exorcism. Karoline knew exactly what she was walking into. She saw the fake smiles and the setup questions coming a mile away, but instead of playing defense, she flipped the script. Their little gotcha moment turned into a courtroom brawl. That lawsuit was not a meltdown. It was a chess move, a very expensive one.
People want us divided, and they aren't just here in this country. They're foreign adversaries who are infiltrating our social media because it is prudent for us to stay that way. So when you see something that really pisses you off, you should triple check that one.
Yeah. But I think that's why people like our show, because they know that we are checked by ABC News. But
we're checked by everybody.
Yeah. I mean, if we're wrong, we have, the legal note here.
The human legal note.
But we went from Walter Cronkite basically to this guy, Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons? He believes in dragons.
Did you triple source that?
Joe Rogan saw it instantly. This was not about making legal history. It was about flipping the power. Karoline walked in like a one-woman wrecking crew with brass knuckles made of subpoenas, and Joe was right there grinning ringside. Like, yep, that is how it is done. Rogan respected the move because he has seen. The View pull this same stunt for years. Toss out a cheap shot, then hide behind a velvet rope of victimhood. Criticize them, that is misogyny. Push back, that is censorship. Quote, a real fact, suddenly you are a villain. But Karoline did not clap back with sass or hashtags. She came armed with a lawyer and shook the whole building. The host acted like she stormed the set, swinging the Constitution like a sword at a medieval. Fair. It was not a debate, it was a collective fainting spell, and Joe did not just laugh.
It is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies-infested hen house.
He stood up and clapped. Because in his world, if The View gets to turn every morning into a DEFCON 1 meltdown, they do not get to cry when the blast comes back. Drama is a boomerang, and Karoline just showed them how it really flies. The View still cannot decide if it wants to be morning TV or a therapy session for washed-up influencers. 1 minute, it is politics. The next, it is spiritual quotes off a Whole Foods bottle. The vibe, a wellness retreat run by toddlers. Meanwhile, Joe is somewhere sipping mushroom tea, courtside at the Super Bowl of self-inflicted disasters. Karoline might not win every court battle, but when it comes to owning the narrative, she is already up 10. Nothing Rogan sees it plain as day Karoline is not just suing a show, she is making herself the face of fearless pushback. The woman who walked into the Hydra's den of hysteria, slapped it with a subpoena, and walked out holding the headlines.
Yes. Yes.
And that's their audience.
Yes. Well, their audience is not really their audience. Their audience is a group of people they bring in to watch television shows. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen audiences before for TV shows, but a lot of them are paid. They're paid to be there. So, because they have to guarantee that there's going to be people there. So there's services that you hire. And when a show gets really, really popular, you know, like Letterman or something like that, obviously it has its own fan base.
Right.
And those people will try to get tickets before anybody else does. And in that case, they probably don't need to use a service anymore. They just get actual fans. But arguably, like, the fans, the real fans of The View that are like, oh, these ladies are on point, most of those people can't leave the house. Like,
Meanwhile,
they're immobile.
The View is spiraling, sounding less like journalists and more like a high school drama club trying out for CNN. Every time they cry, victim after getting challenged, they do not look brave. They look ridiculous. Joe is not mad about the lawsuit. He is just mad. It took this long. And there is Rogan, king of chaos turned king of cash, sitting front row with a Spotify mega deal and a smirk that says, I told you so. This is not about ethics or truth. This is reality TV with a subpoena on the side. Nobody in this circus is chasing justice. They are chasing clout like it is Black Friday at Target. Karoline is not playing defense. She is flipping the table, flipping the whole room, and Joe is right there, handing her the gasoline, the lighter, and a protein shake.
Whoopi Goldberg's, like, did you see what she did to that Staten Island bakery?
Yeah. No.
Crazy.
What?
So Staten Island Bakery, their boiler went down, and she placed an order of cupcakes for her birthday. And they couldn't
hold on. I can't imagine yet how this would go bad. Okay, go ahead.
So she places this order. They say, we can't promise you that we can do this because our boiler is down. So we can't fulfill this order. And so then the next day, the boiler's back up. She has someone else call the same bakery, and they get the order in because now the boiler's up. She claims the reason why they didn't take her order is because they didn't like her politics. And so she says this on The View. So then the bakery has a press conference where they say, we've been in business for 150 years. This is not what happened at all. We don't discriminate against anybody regardless of anything. We just had a problem with our boiler, and she's singling out a family-run business, and then there's a line around the block for the bakery.
This is not just a lawsuit. It is a broadcasted rebellion, and Joe is already warming up for season 2. Because in today's America, why have real conversations when you can lawyer up and call it activism? Karoline is not just clapping back, she is turning every insult into a headline. Every headline into a click. Every click into a fundraising email locking down her next Fox News sit-down, while the lighting is perfect and the outrage is monetized. The View. They are choking on their own outrage. Again, another meltdown from Joy Behar, who reacts like democracy is ending every time someone disagrees. Meanwhile, Rogan is vibing, stacking downloads, grabbing eyeballs, and gearing up for another 3-hour podcast where somehow it all ties. Back to elk, jerky aliens, and the fall of Rome. This is not democracy, it is daytime cosplay, and Joe Rogan is not trying to fix it. He is the jester calling out the whole circus while sipping mushroom tea and grilling meat off camera. The View screams. Inclusion but treats different opinions like biohazards. Karoline fights back and suddenly she is public enemy. Number 1 Rogan. He is the only one actually laughing while everyone else tries to pretend this mess is intellectual debate. Karoline is tossing subpoenas like parade confetti, and The View is drowning in their own self-righteous rage, while Rogan bottles every drop, turning chaos into clicks and ideology into episodes. This is not just drama. This is a 3-ring circus of cultural combat, and Joe Rogan just sold out the popcorn stand. The real winner is not Karoline, not the lawyers. It is the bald dude with a mic, no filter, and a laugh loud enough to rattle the internet. Because if we have learned anything from this meltdown of politics, pride, and podcasts, it is this: everyone is offended, everyone is suing, and Joe Rogan is still winning.